David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. It's almost upon us. I'm Paulie for Paulie TV. Let's break down this fight. Probably the most anticipated pay-per-view of the year thus far. And everybody agrees that I think it's going to be a really good fight, a really good tactical matchup. David Benavidez is making a lot of noise as far as being the heir apparent to Canelo. A lot of people have been wanting to see him take on Canelo. A lot of people feel like he's deserved to have a shot at the undisputed title. I myself am included among those. And then his detractors will say, oh, he fought. He hasn't fought enough competition to fight, to be able to deserve a shot against Canelo. Well, you know, my answer to that is Canelo is the undisputed super middleweight champion, who is a better super middleweight than David Benavidez to deserve a shot at the title. For now, we get Canelo versus John Ryder, and we get David Benavidez against Caleb Plant. Now, Caleb Plant, coming off of a spectacular win over Anthony Errol, kind of solidified himself back among the elite of the division after, you know, a little hiccup against Canelo. I've said before, I was a little disappointed in the way he performed against Canelo. I thought he started out, you know, pretty well. He had a bit of a confusing style, but I never thought he actually stepped on the gas and tried to win the fight. I thought he just was content with giving Canelo problems and then exiting the fight in a safe manner. But he came back with a vengeance with a knockout over Anthony Errol, and it seems like his motivation is back. And he knows himself that, you know, if there's a possibility to get a Canelo rematch or other big fights, this is a very, very big fight for him, because if people are considering Benavidez as the heir apparent, well, getting a win over the heir apparent is, you know, just as good. Let's break down tactically. You know, for me, Benavidez likes to press the pace. He's a guy who presses the pace. He's got fast hands and fast combinations, but Benavidez has to be at close range in order to get those fast hands and fast combinations going. He gets to you. He closes the gap to you. Sometimes he has a habit of following you instead of cutting off the ring. I'm wondering if Caleb Plant's movement and deception could cause some early problems. David, nonetheless, closes the gap really fast. He pressures you really fast. So even if he's not going to cut off the ring, which I have not seen him be that great at doing that, he's still going to, you know, force Caleb to constantly, you know, change the angle and fight off that back foot and try to time him. Don't get me wrong; it's easier to do it when a guy doesn't cut off the ring, but you know, you still got to be attentive at all times, because the speed at which David brings the fight to you is still a pretty fast pace. And when he gets to you, if he's able to get to you in a manner where you don't really disrupt his entrance, he has some really good combinations, really fast combinations, really creative combinations, both to the head and to the body, and he can be very, very destructive. So the key for David Benavidez, obviously, is to be able to close the gap so that once he gets close, he's able to throw those combinations. Now, just because he gets close doesn't mean that he's just going to be able to tee off on Caleb the way he did on, like, say, Porky Medina or something like that. You know, Caleb is still adept at really giving you angles on the inside and not making himself a great target. But the exchanges on the inside, for me, are going to be advantageous to David Benavidez. Even if he's not able to land every shot clean or land a lot of the shots clean on the inside, he's going to put Caleb too much on the back foot, too much on the defensive, and eventually that could wear out Caleb and start to, you know, as the fight wears on, he'd be able to land the harder shots on Caleb as Caleb tires out, sort of like the way Canelo did, but Canelo does cut off the ring. With Caleb, you know, I believe in order for him to have success, he's got to have a good start. Most people are picking, you know, Benavidez by a late stoppage or, you know, or going away or as the fight progresses, he's going to take over the fight. So all the more reason for Caleb to be able to have a good start is very important. And I think maybe he can, you know, again, David brings the fight to you, but he doesn't cut off the ring. And he sort of crosses his feet instead of shuffling them, you know. And so, you know, when you're crossing your feet, when you come into a fight and you're crossing your feet, you have to get there then set, as opposed to when you shuffle your feet, you can get to the fighter and be ready to punch right away. You don't have to set your feet. David crosses his feet, so that means when he gets there, he's got to take an extra split second to set his feet. And sometimes against a guy with the split second timing of Caleb Plant, that's all he needs to, you know, maybe land a sharp shot and be able to spin you around and create other openings for him, and also be able to maybe, you know, as he spins you around, then he can start taking the lead in some aspects, because I don't think Caleb's going to be able to win the fight just on counterpunching. There's going to be times where he's going to have to lead, and he's going to have to use that jab and to set up maybe possible defensive mistakes on the part of David, and then take advantage of them with the other punches. You know, ultimately, I do believe that, you know, Caleb will slow down. Just the way he did against Canelo. My only question mark, not so much issue, my only question mark is, will Caleb go to try to win this fight, if it gets tough? Because now I felt like he was kind of content to take the $10 million in the Canelo fight and just go out safely and would be content to just, have a decent showing against Canelo, but not actually try to go for the gusto and go to win the fight. Which going for the win, it may put you in the hospital, but you may also be able to win the fight too. It could go either way. Well, if you don't go for the gusto, you lose the way Caleb did in that fight. I felt like a piece of me felt like he was content to take his $10 million and just go out in a safe manner and go home healthy, safe, and take the $10 million. Again, if we're going to fight to be great, I don't necessarily agree with that outlook. But I'm curious to see now if Caleb is maybe angry about some of the criticism that came from that, or maybe if he regrets it, and if he's willing to go out more so on his shield against Benavidez and really go for the gusto. Because if he's willing to go for the gusto as the fight progresses, I think if he has a good start, and then if he starts to slow down and David gets to him, if Caleb's willing to go for the gusto and he's able to have some other tricky rounds late in the fight could come up into the balance as the late rounds, championship rounds come upon us, But for me, it's all going to depend on how much Caleb really wants it, and if he's able to, execute that plan really well. Because again, as the fight progresses, and he slows down, the speed at which Benavidez gets to you, even though he's not great at cutting off the ring, now he still chases you really fast, and he'll start getting to you if you slow down, regardless of him cutting off the ring or not. You still need something to keep him off you. I am one of those people that probably thinks, Caleb starts out good. He's an impressive boxer, but I think he's going to slow down, and I think David gets him in the probably the last quarter of the fight. But before that, let's see if Caleb can show us some maybe defects in the style of David Benavidez that maybe we haven't seen, because we haven't seen him against this level of opposition. And my belief that we haven't seen him against this level of opposition is because they haven't wanted to fight him. But nonetheless, now being able to see him against this level of opposition, the fight has been made. I don't believe Caleb wins the fight, but I believe Caleb has the skills to show some defects and deficiencies that David may have that we may not have seen before, because he didn't fight the level of opposition that can bring them out. And, that could get the conversation going, as opposed to things like, oh, will Canelo take advantage of those things that we may be seeing? That's just my opinion. Now, if David comes in and blows out Caleb Plant, that would be a big, big statement, because not even Canelo did that. So these are kind of the question marks going into the fight. I think all of us believe it'll be a good fight. I'm one of those people. I think both these guys are very capable guys, world-class fighters. And they're two guys that I enjoy watching and practicing their craft, both because they're exciting fighters and also because they do a good job at what they do. I enjoy watching the craft and watching different styles at work. And this is a good clash of styles. So let's see how the fight plays out. That's my breakdown for David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know who you guys think will win, how you guys will think will win, if you think Caleb can pull off the upset, or even if he doesn't pull off the upset, if you believe that Caleb has the arsenal to bring out some of the deficiencies in David Benavidez's style. I'm Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV, and I'll see you next time after the fight.